So I have a lot of Sony full frame cameras, and I thought I'd do this video before I start selling some of these off. And I will be, and I'll share with you which ones towards the end of the video. Now, I am a professional photographer. That's what I do as an income. I shoot video and photo content for commercial companies, and that's where I make my living. YouTube stuff, that's kind of more on the side. And so I wanted to share with you today in this video my thoughts about each one of these cameras and provide you potentially some advice about which camera or which full frame camera you should be buying. Now, full disclosure, no one has asked me to make this video. This is just me just kind of wanting to do this since I have everything right here. And I just kind of need to, pare things down a little bit. Now, for work, let's talk about work first. For video, most of the time I'm actually shooting with the FX6 as well as the FX3 and the A7S III. And so those are the three cameras that I'm always kind of taking out. Sometimes I need three cameras because sometimes if it's a two-person interview, I'll use FX6 as my master wide, and then I'll have two close-up cameras on the two subjects. And so those are kind of my three main cameras, and they all kind of match super well together. So I just like to kind of keep everything just like that. Now, when we're talking about work, commercial photography, my workhorse is the Sony a7R5. That is the camera that I use for everything. My backup camera right now is the Sony a7 IV, and it's my backup camera, my secondary body. I've shot a lot with it, just photos only, no video. And I probably will be replacing this, and I'll probably be selling this because I recently just got the A7CR. So the A7CR also has a higher megapixel sensor, which is great, but I just kind of like the overall styling of it. It's smaller. It'll do a similar job. Yeah, you're right. It doesn't have dual card slots, but that's fine because this is more of a backup body. So when I'm doing professional photography now, I'll probably rock these two out. Now, for talking about moving to personal travel, things like that, when I'm going around with my family, and I just want a small camera, to be honest, and most of the times I'm just using my iPhone. But if I do want to take some good photos, I will be gravitating towards the ZV-E1 or the Sony a7CR, just because they're smaller. They're more of a fun camera to use. Now, I do have other cameras like Nikon and Fujifilm and Leica and things like that, which I also gravitate to and switch to as well. Those are my just for fun cameras. But now let's move on to if you are a content creator, if you are trying to get into YouTube and just create content for yourself or for whatever, the cameras that I would recommend is either the Sony a7C II, the Sony a7CR, or the ZV-E1. Now, there's pros and cons about each one of them. The camera with the best IBIS, in-body stabilization, and it is by far the best, is going to be the Sony ZV-E1 or the Sony a7R5. The Sony a7R5 might be out of your price range. This is the one camera I would stick. If I had to choose just one camera and stick with it, it would be the Sony a7R5. I love this. So for the best IBIS, it's going to be this. I think that's going to be the greatest one. Second, a lot of people are buying the A7C II just because it's a best valued one. It's pretty much, it's got a great sensor. It can do photo, video, all that kind of stuff. What's the main difference between the A7CR and the A7C II besides the sensor size? Obviously, this is a higher megapixel, but this one does 4K 60p in full frame, which is slow-mo in full frame. If you are buying the A7C II and you're doing any kind of slow-mo stuff, it will crop in, which is unfortunate, but that's just how it is. And so they kind of make you buy something better. The ZV-E1, now it's not going to be great for super long form. So if you're going to be trying to record 30 minutes or more, or maybe an hour or something like that, it's not good for that because it overheats. You can buy a fan, but it's not great for long form content. It's better for short, small little bursts here and there. B-roll shots, that's what it's gonna be great for. So anyways, I would suggest you either get the Sony a7C II, A7CR, or the ZV-E1 if you're gonna be doing this for YouTube, personal, travel, things like that. those ones are going to be the great cameras. Now, moving on to which camera am I going to be getting rid of, and just to kind of pare this down. The camera I didn't really talk about was the Sony FX9. So this guy is a beast. So aside from just the sheer size of it, yeah, the image quality and all that kind of stuff is beautiful. But I just feel like whenever I do, you know, video jobs, I always require 2 or 3 cameras. And these cameras match super well because their sensors are more similar-ish. And if I'm using the FX9 and I'm using the smaller cameras as B cams, it's a little bit of a bigger jump. So just a little bit more work to kind of get them to match in post. But yeah, that's kind of like the main reason. So I will be, unfortunately, getting rid of this magical beast. The second camera that I will be getting rid of will be the Sony a7 IV. A7 IV, it has been great, but this has just been a backup body right now. It's just kind of, as time goes on, it's just losing value. And since I just got the A7CR as my new backup camera, then I don't really have a need for this guy. If I had to choose just one camera and I was just a one guy, you know, shooting everything like that, it kind of depends, you know. So if it's going to be kind of mixed photo and video 50-50 and money wasn't an object, the Sony a7R5 is truly, it has the best IBIS. I mean, it's pretty much the same as the ZV-E1, but it's got the best IBIS out of all these for handheld video shots. That's gonna be pro. This is the only camera that has this multi-angles thing, so you can do it like that, or you can switch it out and flip it around. So this one has like the best LCD flippy variable angle screen. It's got a high resolution sensor, and if you don't want to shoot at 60 megapixels, you could always just shoot it at medium raw, which kind of goes down and it doesn't crop the image, it's just, you know, lower resolution. So this camera can do it almost all. But if you are more of a video content creator, I mean shooting videos for companies, I feel like you do need to go a little bit more professional here. The FX3 or the A7S III are fantastic options. There are, you know, APS-C size like the FX30 camera that's out as well, so those are also good options. But this video is only about full frame, but yeah, those are just my options. But if you are on a budget, definitely I think the Sony a7C II is, I think, based on brand new anyways, is going to be the best price, the best value for anything. So the Sony a7C II. But anyways, let's wrap this video up. I hope you found this video helpful. If you did, please like and subscribe, and definitely don't forget to follow me on Instagram at Desy31.